else would like to put in, or we'll just proceed from here? Let me just, before we start the chapter altogether, I show you the different parts of a boat. Actually, this particular chapter, if you don't understand the different things that are there in a boat, what exactly they are called, then you cannot move further. The word meaning and all will be slightly difficult to understand. So let me just share that thing with you, and all of you on your own. Like if you have your book, that is. Otherwise, the way you have soft copy also, please move to the page number 20 of your hornbill. All of you, please look into your book, page number 20. Open your books, page number 20. There is a blank, you can say the picture of a boat. In fact, a sail, simple sail. So just see that. And it has been asked that in the box, there are few words that have been mentioned. Now, I'll just share that with you, and all of you can just do the guesswork first. Let's see. But otherwise, this is how it is. Just a second. Let me share this thing with you. Yeah. Is it visible to each one of you? Just one of you confirm. Maybe.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
ma'am.
right. So just see this diagram. This is just a simple picture. You can say a diagram, a sketch of a boat, which is there in your book on page number 20. All I have done is filled up all these actual terms that have been used for that. Fine. Now see how it is. All of you, please take a pencil and please do this exercise. Like there are certain words that have been given in the box if you go to your own book, and also see this particular picture and write the words that are there. Now, the very topmost, it is called bungee. Then you have on the right hand side the mast. Then there is jib. Then there is forestay, a bow. There is coming down, you see the hull. Then there is keel, Keel, keel. This small part on the left, rudder. There is stern. That entire part is called a stern. There is something called a boom. Just see, the just it holds on to the mast. So that is called your boom. Then there is a boom wang, that is kicking strap. Then there is a lift. This is the main sail. On the left, if you see, this is the main sail. Then the backstay. So this is how it is. Now, of certain words which are there, I've tried to cover. In your book also, it's in the same form. You can just write it down. Mast, jib, hull, keel, cockpit also at times, the place that black color picture, that black thing in the middle, that is the cockpit actually, or the cabin as you call. And there is the boom, the bow, the stern, the rudder, the mainsail. This is how the picture looks. So when we know about this, the task of understanding the chapter becomes very easy. There will be the mention of all these words. In fact, very frequently you will come across this word jib, J-I-B, jib. You'll also come across forestay. You'll also come across hull. These are few words which will keep recurring one after the other. So it will be essential. I hope this picture is clear with you. Yeah. So, Kanak, have you followed this thing? This picture is clear with you, beta?
Ma'am, I'm confused. If that one is a mast, then what would the other one be? Because in our book, there are shown two, and they're not given jib as an
They are not
option.
even the, yeah, you just write the mast. The mast is that pole that is there, that black pole which is there. That holds on to the sail, main sail. It holds on to that. That is the mast. I'll share this picture on the class group as well, beta. So it will be more clearer. You can always see this. And the main picture, in fact, in your just a second. I will just show you. Just a second. Now, is this thing visible to you? This will be more clear. Yeah. Now,
Yes, ma'am.
your book has this picture. Now, see this, how it looks. The mast is at the top. Mainsail is this one. This is the cabin which you have. The cockpit actually. Then boom, bow, stern, rudder, keel, and hull, and zip. This is how it
Excuse
will
me,
be.
ma'am, in your diagram, stern was on the opposite side of the boat.
Doesn't matter. Because when you sail, you can sail from the other way around also. It depends on the wind direction. It depends on the wind
No,
direction
ma'am, I
as
mean
well.
they're on the opposite sides of the boat.
Maybe that picture was of a boat which was designed in that manner, and your this one is given in this manner. But you see the same side also. All of you can have this photograph as well. I'll share it with you as well. These both the things, see this one and this one. This is more elaborate. The topping, nail sail, backstay, all these things are given. In this one, which you have in your class, that one, it's slightly, you can say, a skeleton picture kind of a thing. Fine. Okay, now coming back to the chapter. Aryan, is it visible to you, beta? The chapter is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, all of you have your books with you. We'll do the explanation. Uh, I will go into all, you have already done the reading and all. We'll do an exercise at the end. But right now, a little bit of explanation, at least 2 pages. That's what we'll do. Now, we are not afraid to die if we can be together. Now, see, the theme is there itself. If we can all be together. So, what are they talking about? Teamwork, right? Anything else that you decipher from this particular line? Anything that comes to your mind? We are not afraid to die if we can all be together. So it is like if we are family, if we stick together, and family is not necessarily only the immediate blood relation and all. Family can be your friends also at times. It can be the people who surround you. It can be the people who are with you in times of need. They are family as well. So the author Gordon Cook and Alanis, they talk about basically the adventurous ordeal at sea. Whatever they went through, the problems, ordeal is basically the problem. Whatever they went through, it's an account of that. And the narrator, he talks about the grit and courage one comes across in the face of problems, you can say, adversities, you can say, and especially when somebody enjoys the faith and support of their family members. How is it like, how does it feel when you have your close people around you? And it could be your immediate family, the blood relation, or your family whom you have made over the period. That is also there. Now, the lesson is you can say, a heart-rending account of how these people overcame the entire situation. Like Bhavya had told in the beginning, that it talks about how they went through the entire thing, the entire turmoil together. And there was almost a close encounter with the death during the voyage. And after the lesson is also, you can say, a tribute on courage and valor. It keeps one calm, like if one keeps calm during the times of trouble, if one uses the reasoning, if the one person is more careful, then you see that the big things can be avoided. So basically, the chapter is about bravery. It's all about courage. It talks about valor. It talks about coming out of a trouble, like with teamwork, with the you can say, when you fight it out together. That is what is the chapter all about. Now, all of you in the group also have shared the word meanings. Whatever difficult words are there, I've shared the word meaning. You can have a look there as well. And in the meanwhile, even I'll keep telling you as well. Keep a pen and a paper ready, beta. Always keep your notebooks with you. Always. Now, in July 1976, This is the time when Gordon Cook and Alan East, they were in fact, before we move ahead, we must know a little bit about them also, which we had discussed earlier. But again, just to remind you, they were themselves sailors. They were themselves those sea voyagers. They were the people who themselves took up this entire process of sailing, and their adventures, they have kind of put them down in these kind of writings. In fact, this is just a part of their entire adventure script. How they went through, what happened during the journey, and all that. Gordon Cook and Alan East have mentioned there. Now, coming back to the chapter, in July 1976, my wife Mary, son Jonathan, 6, daughter Suzanne, 7, and I set sail from Plymouth, England, to duplicate the round the clock, round the world voyage made 200 years earlier by Captain James Cook. For the longest time, Mary and I, a 37-year-old businessman, had dreamt of sailing in the wake of the famous explorer, and for the past 16 years, we had spent our leisure time honing our seafaring skills in British waters. So basically, honing means it's like polishing, it's giving that final touch. It is like the training, you can say. And what had these guys done? All four of them, especially the gentleman and the lady, that is Mary, they have taken kind of, you can say, long time. They have taken almost 16 years before they actually set sail. The process was a long one. It's not as if, you one fine day you get up and decide that I'm going to the sea. No, not like that. They take their time, they plan it out properly. It goes better, in fact, for everything. In fact, even for your classwork, homework, and your exams, if the planning is good, if you see what exactly has to be done, you'll see the performance is very good. And the same manner, this guy, uh, for a long time, and more so, getting the resources. More important is resources. They could not have managed that in one day. So that's why they have planned it for 16 years, and they have worked also. They have really earned the money which is required for any kind of trip. So that also they have given time, energy, and money to that and started off. Now, there, what did they do? They have created this boat, that is the wave walker, which I showed you also. Just a sketch, just a sketch I had given you, and how the wave walker was. So this boat was called the wave walker. In fact, you can mark it here as well, beta. This could be a question that how did the wave walker look? It was a 23-meter, 30-ton wooden hulled beauty and had been professionally built, and we had spent months fitting it out and testing it in the roughest weather we could. Meaning for 16 years, it was not as if they had not done anything. They had kept on improving. They had a wooden hulled beauty, means very strong, made of wood, very concrete kind of thing, and it weighed a ton. You know how much ton? 30 ton. So quite, you can say, sturdy, quite strong, which can be put in water. That had been professionally built, meaning not amateur, but people had put in a lot of effort in that. And we had spent months fitting it out and testing it in the roughest weather we could find. Meaning they have done it all possible way. जिसको हम बोलते हैं खूब पीट के बजा के अच्छे से उसको तैयार करना. It's like ready for the entire thing. It's like we assess the situation from every corner. We do not take any chance before you move it into the main sea. When we take up the main adventure, that is the voyage in the sea, before that, they have done all possible testing. Now, the first leg of our planned 3 year, one almost a lakh 5,000 kilometer journey passed pleasantly as we sailed down the west coast of Africa to Cape Town. So, uh, what was the journey? Like from where to where? Siddhant, are you there, beta? Can you tell me? Well, from where to where is the journey? Like, what is the trip all about? from where to where? Arav? England. Okay, from England to South. Yes. So there, before heading east, we took on two crewmen. Crewmen is they will be now a part of their family. They are going to be looking after the entire process. They are also trained professionals. So this is another question. Who are these guys? They are American Larry Vigil and Swiss guy, meaning from Switzerland, Herb Fickler, to help us tackle one of the world's toughest seas, the Southern Indian Ocean. Now, can anybody tell me why is it called the roughest sea, the Indian Ocean? Anyone? Anyone?
Ma'am, because sometimes, because
One guy.
sometimes there, gigantic waves are formed or occur.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Yeah. Somebody else was saying. I think Arav. Why is it called the roughest sea, Southern Indian Ocean? Because of the storms and all. Okay. Bad weather. Yeah, at that time. Okay. Now, can if
Ma'am,
light?
geographically,
Geography.
ma'am, may I?
Yes, please.
Ma'am, geographically, ma'am, a lot of winds from the southern hemisphere enter India and basically Asia from the Indian Ocean. So there is a lot of movement and currents going on.
Okay. We'll take that. Now, can anybody slightly off track, not on this line? I'm just asking. Have you heard of something called Bermuda Triangle?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
I,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, I know. That's why I said off track, not in this league, but off track. So, why have you? Why is it famous like Bermuda Triangle?
Ma'am, because no
Because
one
ma'am,
comes
there
back.
planes and ships are disappear, ma'am.
It
Planes and
disappeared.
ships
Yeah,
disappear there.
yes, yeah, even this boy said that one disappears somewhere. And what could be the possible reason? Why
Ma'am,
is
there are
there
many
some?
cyclones. Ma'am, there are many cyclones. Ma'am, like the weather is really bad, like really, really bad.
Okay,
Usually, ma'am, the
so
plane is drown.
no, but the plane fly in the air and the water is in the sea. So how is
Ma'am,
it
but the
that?
air currents are really strong too. Air currents are really strong too. So that's why the planes get also the signals don't go there, ma'am, for some reason.
Okay,
Ma'am, but
The
it is
planes
also
lost.
exaggerated. It's not as dangerous as they say. Still, a lot
yes,
of
I
planes
know.
pass through without any issue.
Yeah, some of them pass without any issue, but so many cases have happened. Ghost stories float also. There are so many stories around it. Now, this can be one discussion point. In fact, you said it is exaggerated thing. Why don't you find out a little bit about Bermuda Triangle, and in the next class you brief us about it? That will be really interesting to hear from you. Will it be fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So
Okay,
we'll
ma'am.
we'll learn. Yeah, good. We'll learn something new about things. Right. Okay. On our second day out of Cape Town, we begin to encounter strong gales. Can anybody tell me what is gale? What is a gale? We just spoke
Very
Ma'am,
about,
strong wind.
windstorm.
yes, strong wind.
Winds.
Yes. So on our second day out of Cape Town, we began to encounter strong gales. For the next few weeks, they blew continuously. Gales did not worry me, but the size of the waves was alarming, up to 15 meters, as high as our main mast. Imagine if I would have been there, and the way I mentioned to you, I am so scared even of that shower which opens in the washroom, and I go breathless. You imagine if I see that, I'm just going to collapse. So anybody, like yesterday we had discussion, anybody who has got fear of water, it is scary. Trust me. Even some of the videos. In fact, how many of you have watched Titanic? There was a very famous movie called Titanic, and
Yes.
it's a true
Yes,
story.
ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
and
Yes, ma'am.
lovely song. Lovely English songs. In fact, you can enjoy in your leisure time. The songs are by a lady called Celine Dion. My favorite, one of the favorite singers, beautiful voice and lovely lyrics. So that movie is famous for all these things and much more. So when you see that movie, the gigantic waves, when you see them, it's so scary. Even even those what do you call the snow capped those glaciers coming in and they hitting it out and falling into it and the horrible sight that they form, it's quite scary. Now December 25th found us 3,500 kilometers east of Cape Town. Despite atrocious weather, we had a wonderful holiday complete with a Christmas tree. New Year's Day saw no improvement in the weather, but we reasoned that it had to change soon, and it did change for the world. Now, these few paragraphs that we have done, can anybody just tell me in which style of writing or type of writing does this fall into? Is it narrative style? Is it persuasive, expository? Is it, yeah, narrative? Okay,
I'm narrative.
narrative. And why do you say it is
Narrative.
narrative? Why do you say it is narrative? Okay, okay, yes. And first person,
Descriptive writing also.
yes, I was just coming to that. Even descriptive. In detail, the things are being explained. Okay. So both we use. Like I had told you earlier also, beta, we use two or more forms sometimes when we are writing. So this can go under both. Then coming to the next stanza. At dawn on January 2nd, the waves were gigantic. Gigantic means huge. Like you can't imagine how big it would be. Then it is the worst thing possible. We were sailing with only a small storm jib. Now you remember I showed you how the jib looks. The jib actually is triangular in shape, and it is like a sail. It is how it moves as the wind direction change. It will keep moving, and we're still making 8 knots. Have you heard of knots by any chance in 10th standard? I'm sure. Yes.
The speed of a ship is measured in knots, nautical miles.
Yes. I'm so sorry, because something happened with my screen. Just I'll share it again. Yeah. Knots. Is it visible now? The screen is visible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yeah. Now tell me, what have you understood of knots? It must have been done in geography if I'm not wrong. What is a strong knot? KNOT. Please tell me.
It's the distance covered in water.
Yes, distance covered. In fact, 12 nautical miles, we say, generally is the limit of a country. You know, the country has free access for 12 nautical miles. You must have done, I'm sure, because I had also taught at one point of time SSC. There we have mentioned, so I'm sure in ninth or 10th you must have done about it. In not uh, the distance you can say that they have traveled. In fact, for 12 nautical miles, the country which has that part is under them. It is under the purview or the you can say the international waters start after 12 nautical miles. Till that time, it is under the control of that particular country. Fine. And also these are the time which is calculated. Fine. As the ship rose to the top of each wave, we could see endless, enormous seas rolling towards us and the screaming of the wind and spray. was painful to the ears. To slow the boat down, we dropped the storm jib and lashed a heavy mooring rope in the loop in a loop across the stern. Now again the stern. The rear side or the rear end of the ship is called the you can say the stern. Rear side, the opposite side, you can say is the stern. So all these words, that's why I showed you in the beginning. You see the picture which is there with you and compare it what we are talking about. It becomes easier. And last, a heavy mooring rope. It's like anchoring the boat. So basically, in simple words, if I put it, these guys, all four of them, the family members, and the two crewmen, meaning who have been hired later. One is Harry Vigil, the Larry Vigil, and Herb Stigler. They both have been hired, and all six of them have ventured into the sea. And the boat is called the Wave Walker, not very big, small one, which of course can carry these six guys. They have taken the resources, the entire thing. Over a period of 16 years, they have kind of accumulated the thing, the knowledge, the skills, and everything. And they have moved into the sea. When they did that, they never expected that what could have been a fun trip turning out to be a worse nightmare. Slowly, they realize that it is becoming very difficult. So that's what he is talking about. Now, coming to the next one. They are talking about how they are stuck in the gigantic wave and they are scared that it might even cross over their map. Then we double lashed everything, went through our life raft drill, attached lifelines, donned oilskins and life jackets and walked. Now, these don means to put on. And it's like what you call that when you are expecting a danger, what do? You start preparing for it. In fact, if you see this movie called Titanic, you will see it's a huge ship and small boats are all you can say hanging small boats or sails as we call, and they're just attached to the main ship so that if there is an emergency they can take that and flee from that place. But this boat is too small, and what they do, they put in those life jacket kind of things. They put on the clothes and be prepared for the impending danger. The impending danger means something which you are expecting to happen. Now, the first indication of impending disaster came at about 6 p.m. with an ominous silence. Now, ominous is something which is, you can say, you are expecting that something wrong, something evil is going to happen. Ominous, it's like before any kind of storm, any kind of thunderstorm, if you see, there is a lull. There is a kind of you can see a phase when there is not much activity and suddenly the storm comes. That kind of silence is called ominous silence. It is more to do with the something which is signaling into something which is evil, something which is dangerous, and you are expecting that, and there is a silence. There is no movement, no activity. So that kind of phase is there at 6 p.m. The wind dropped and the sky immediately grew dark. Uh, these they have removed from 10th standard. There was a poetry called the Rhyme of Ancient Mariner. Have you heard of this? Any one of you? Has anybody heard ever of Rhyme of Ancient Mariner? This was written by a very famous poet called S.T. Coleridge. Now, this gentleman, this poetry was earlier there in your syllabus, but now they have removed it. If you read that poetry, this particular chapter gives you that kind of a eerie feeling. Eerie is very strange or very precarious kind of a situation where you're not prepared for any danger and you're looking at danger face on. That is what is happening here. There is a silence, there is a horror, and unexpected is going to happen. They are preparing for that. Now the wind dropped and the sky immediately grew dark. Then came a growing roar, and an enormous cloud towered aft of the ship. Aft means behind the ship. With horror, I realized that it was not a cloud, but a wave like no other I had ever seen. It appeared perfectly vertical and almost twice the height of the other wave, with a frightful breaking crest. It's like you're not prepared for something. It is with force it comes onto you. It throws on your face. It's as if from the back, from behind, that is, you see it is rising. You just imagine if it in a very dramatic way, if I tell you, it's like all dark thing coming up, looming large all over, and from behind you just see the huge tsunami wave coming and breaking. In fact, long back, I remember when we had this tsunami in Bhubaneswar. That's when the first time in Puri, I remember seeing huge, gigantic waves, almost like you can say the height of a four-story building. It was so scary, I can't tell you. Till now, I remember that sight and what misery it brought after that. That is what is the sight that they're trying to create for you. Now, the roar increased to a thunder as the stern moved up the face of the wave. And for a moment, I thought we might ride over it. But then a tremendous explosion shook the deck. A torrent of green and white water broke over the ship. My head smashed into the wheel. I was aware of flying overboard and sinking below the waves. I accepted my approaching death. Please underline this line. I accepted my approaching death, meaning I completely surrendered. I knew there is no escape, meaning I'm going to be dead. So I better accept what is coming to me. That kind of thing. I accepted my approaching death. As I was losing consciousness, I felt quite peaceful. It's as if God, I'm going. It's there's no other way out of this place, so I'm going. That is how he was feeling. Unexpectedly, my head popped out of the water a few meters away. Wave Walker was near capsizing, her mast almost horizontal. Then a wave hurled her upright. My lifeline jerked taut. Jerked taut means it's like it just wasn't in a condition. It wasn't tightly drawn. It was not very well balanced, or you can see it was a miserable state that this guy was in. Now, unexpectedly, my head popped out of water a few meters away. Wave Walker was near capsizing. Capsizing means going to sink in. Her mast almost horizontal. Then a wave hurled her upright. My lifeline jerked taut. It's like we hold on to tightly onto the life jacket, you can say. And I grabbed the guard rail, something to hold on, and sailed through the air into the wave walker's main boom. Main boom, like I showed you also, the main part which is holding on to the entire sail. Now they are clinging onto it. Subsequent waves tossed me around the deck like a rag doll. Rag doll means what? It's like made of all kinds of waste, all kinds of waste. My left rib cracked, my mouth filled with blood and broken teeth. Somehow I found the wheel, lined up the stern for the next wave, and hung on. Now we'll stop here and do a little bit of discussion. And next class I will take up the rest. But here I'm going to say a few things about. I'll show you the uh, storm jib and all that so that you can know exactly what we are doing. And you've switched off your cameras again. Let's share this. Now, after reading that, look at this particular picture. Now, see this one, which is your class. In your class, I had shown you. This is this chapter which is there in your own book, that is Hornbill. Now, see how it is. The boom is this one. The bow is this. The stern, rudder, cockpit, keel, hull, jib, mast, mainsail. Now, if you see this, it will make sense to you. So they are holding on somewhere near the cabin. They are all standing there. The person is steering the wheel of the boat, you can say, sailing through. And this is how the picture looks. Now it will make sense to you if you see that. Now, the entire situation is, you can say, very chaotic, very, it's like thrill and adventure are inherent qualities that have been mentioned here. But too much of excess of, you can say, thrill and adventure is something which is not welcome. These kind of adventurous ordeals will sometimes scare the person. But then there are certain people who will come out of it. They will come out with courage and conviction, and they will motivate others also. That don't worry, things will be fine. Like there is a saying in English that cowards die many times before their death. The valiant face death only once. I repeat, cowards die many times before their death. The valiant face death only once. So you remember when we were doing yesterday the mind map, somebody said soldier, somebody said bravery, somebody said valor, somebody said talked about the courage and all that. So this is what it is. That cowards, the people who will not fight it out, even not just in these kind of situations, but not that you have to be in war or you have to do something very really extraordinary or you have to stand out and do something, some drastic change. No, not that. Even in day-to-day life, you have to be very courageous. You have to take a stand. You have to, do something which will make you and others proud around. Right? So this is what is the, you can say the crux of these two pages. That is that you have to give it a fight. Okay. Now, yeah, tell me, just a second. Yeah. So I'll ask Sashwat. You are there, beta, or Shivansh? Shivansh, are you there? Say yes or no. Shivansh.
Ma'am, I want to ask one thing.
Yes, please do.
Ma'am, what does the wind drop mean?
Mm-hmm. Again. Come again, beta.
Ma'am, the wind dropped and the sky immediately grew dark.
Wind drop. Which page are you referring to?
On page 14, paragraph 2nd.
Paragraph. Yes. It is at dawn. That particular part.
No, ma'am, below that, the first indication of impending disaster.
Okay. First indication of impending disaster came at about 6 p.m. with an ominous silence. Ominous means evil. There is some kind of evil silence. The wind dropped and the sky immediately grew dark, meaning uh, till that time, because there was a lot of noise because of the wind. You imagine the situation. You have to imagine a little bit that during this time there is no stillness. Before the storm, there is no stillness. There is the wind is flowing, it's moving with a lot of speed and all that. But suddenly you see that it has stopped. That's why I said if you read that poetry by S.T. Coleridge, that's called The Rhyme of Ancient Mariner. Do go through it. It's one of the best written poetry. This situation it has described is the wind is like the entire thing, it looks like a very picture kind of thing, as if you're watching a movie. That there is lot of noise. The wind is making lot of noise. And suddenly it is quiet. It dropped. Drop means it just stopped. It just stopped making any kind of movement. And then there was that silence that which I told you before the storm. There is that lull before the storm. There is a quietness. There is a eerie silence that happens. I hope I made sense with that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other question, or else one of you can just explain to me what is exactly have you understood, and then we can wind up the class. Shivansh, I would
Ma'am,
really love to hear you, beta. Yeah, Bhavya.
ma'am, in the second successive line of the same paragraph, ma'am, what is the meaning of towered aft of the ship?
It's like beyond the ship. The ship, the boat was very small. Towered up means it was beyond that. It could have been covering the even the you can say it was more than the height of the mast. Mast is the last one, the last point. It has even towered over it, meaning it is huge. It is like beyond it. That is what is the meaning of tower. He's we always say he towered over the other people in his class, meaning not that you have to stand tall or in height or anything. At times, your performance, your inherent goodness, your qualities you will stand out. You will be better than the others. So that is towering. Yeah. Any other question? Or else, Shivansh, please, I would like you to brief the class. These 2 pages that we have done, what have you understood? Could you just sum up the class, please? No, Shivansh, there's no movement from you. Are you there? Shreya, are you there? Shreya,
Yes, ma'am.
please brief the class about those 2 pages that we have done in your own language, beta. Not necessary that you have to be bookish or anything. Whatever you have understood, do explain. What happened?
Ma'am, meanwhile, please tell the meaning of torrent. Ma'am, torrent. A torrent of green and white water broke over the ship.
Torrent of green and white. You want to know the meaning of that? Okay, it's basically saying that uh, what do you call a violent theme, meaning what do you call very disturbed, uh, very you can say not very quiet. It's quite violent. Something which is it gives you with full force. That is called torrent. So violent kind of situation. Yeah.
Okay.
Nobody is briefing the class about what you have understood. Aryan, you would like to tell?
Yes, ma'am. We understood, ma'am, we understood that how the author and his family managed to face the disaster, and how they managed to face the face the disaster, and we also saw that when the wave walker would not take any more hits from the waves, so they decided to go to a island,
Mm-hmm.
scientific island. Then then the then the author's son asked him, can he give him a hug? He said, hug. He said, no.
No, because
The
that those things which are there later. I want to just know the brief. Can I just wind up it? Just a few lines and then we can wind up the class today.
Ma'am, the story starts from ma'am, the author, that is Gordon Cook. He he is setting sail with his family, his wife Mary and his children Suzanne and his son, and they want to make a voyage from to around the world, which was last made 200 years ago. So on their first phase of their journey, they go from England to Cape Town, which was smooth and didn't have any trouble. And when they were in Cape Town, they hired two trained sailors. One was American Larry Vigil, and other was Swiss Herb Siegler, maybe. And then they headed towards the Indian Ocean. Then they and when they were heading towards the Indian Ocean, they were encountered by strong gales, and the size of the waves was huge, and it scared the author a lot. On December 25th, the weather didn't get better, and on the following days, it got worse. and they were encountered by such a huge wave, which was 4 times the previous waves they had seen. When this wave when this wave capsized their boat, the wave walker, and it left the author injured. He had broken ribs and he had broken a tooth also. But at last, he managed to get on the boat and fix the stern of the boat. And then he hung on to that so that he could survive others also. And that's all, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So on that note, let's wind up today's class. And the next class, that is next Monday when we meet, we'll start from where we left. And all of you, like I said, do that a little bit of thing on Bermuda Triangle if you can possibly. Read the chapter well. And some of you were supposed to prepare the presentations and all. You get ready with that as well. Okay. On that note, let's wind up. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Beta.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.